week, I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick.
Top of the morning, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Oleksandr Usyk, Tyson Fury. Get this. Usyk states that he's not bothered by Fury's insults. I understand everything he says. I just don't pay him any attention. Tyson Fury's antics may not be achieving what he thinks it's achieving. Oleksandr Usyk, the unified champion from the Ukraine, has more or less worry about Fury, the WBC titleist, and his ludicrousy of threats and insults. The two are projected to face each other sometime next year in what will be determined the undisputed champion. Boxing fans got a preview of the personality of Oleksandr Usyk after stopping Derek Chisora at Hotspur Tottenham Stadium in London earlier this month. During their face-off in the ring, Fury barked at the Ukrainian, hurling one insult after another, while Usyk remained placid and stone-faced. In a recent interview, Usyk had this to say. He says, "Someone says it better to not understand what Fury's saying," Usyk said in a video. "But I understand everything. I just don't pay him any attention. Such a thing, trash talking affects his training, doesn't motivate me," Usyk continues. "Fury's hurling insults at me, but I know what to do in the ring. If I pay attention to anybody who's trying to offend me, I will feed my anger, and rage doesn't help when fighting. Otherwise, it worsens the condition. I'm motivated by the opportunity for this fight. Though there are some people who don't think that I'm optimistic, I pay them no mind either. I'm doing my job, and I choose my way as the samurai does. The way consists of many objectives, but the essence is your way you have to make." Those are the words of Oleksandr Usyk. I've noticed that Usyk has been a fan of parables. When he said samurai, you know, when he talked about the wolf and the geese, I believe it is, right? And how the geese would quack, quack away, you know, until the wolf gets there, right? And then it doesn't really quack anymore. However, in this situation, I think he was the wolf and Tyson Fury was the geese, right? Or the goose. And, you know, the goose in this situation had a lot to quack about because he did show eventually his true color. Because my whole curiosity in the matter was, would Tyson Fury have that same persona with Oleksandr Usyk around versus not around? Because the last time they seen each other, they had only good things to say. I know Tyson did. You know, Usyk never really talked anything bad anyway. But Tyson had a lot of good things, a lot of positive things to say to Oleksandr Usyk when they were face-to-face, when they were talking one-on-one, eye-to-eye. And he was saying things like, "Oh, I'm glad you got Joshua out of there. Good job with the Joshua fight." And then they talked a little whisper in their ear and something, I guess, that, you know, he didn't want anybody else to say. But a lot of the audio picked it up from whoever was filming it, you know. So that's a good thing. And, you know, technology, you know, you got to love it these days. And when he saw him last, I was really actually surprised to see Tyson Fury talk that smack, call him ugly, talk about the gap in his teeth, talk about beating another Ukrainian in times of the Ukrainian versus Russian war. You know, these things like that, you know, because if you could do anything, I guess if you could attempt, if you really wanted to attempt to get under Usyk's skin, you would talk about the war and Russians and stuff like that, which I don't think Tyson Fury will do, honestly. But if he did, you know, that would be something else. But I'm glad that Usyk has came out and said, hey, I understand everything he's saying. I just choose not to give a damn, you know? And a lot of people say or think that Usyk doesn't really know English like that. Usyk knows enough English. I think him understanding English is a lot better than him speaking it, because he's looking for words to replace the Ukrainian words that he knows. But when he hears these English words that I think that he was familiar with, whatever level of education that he learned from English, he knows enough to talk to people. Because you see him, if you notice, when he was talking to Anthony Yard, he didn't have a translator doing this back and forth. He was generally talking to this guy and telling him things, and and then Anthony Yard was nodding like, "Oh, okay, yeah." You know what I mean? You don't say those type of things, and you don't give those type of gestures unless you know what the hell's being said or that person's talking about. Unless you're a big bullshitter and you just, oh yeah. And you just say yeah and pretend you know, and you don't. But for the most part, Usyk knows, and that just shows a strong mind, because it's like, no, I understand what he's saying, but I'm strong enough, I'm big enough not to pay that no mind. Okay, because that doesn't help anything. He's not going to piss me off. He can say whatever he wants. He needs to say that. And I think that's one of Tyson's games. Tyson is going to talk smash. He's going to talk trash. He's going to do whatever he needs to do, to do that. But somebody like Usyk is working on physical strategies, not mental strategies, in form of trying to get under somebody's skin so they would less perform, or so they would overcommit, or so they would do things that they normally don't do. Usyk's like, no, I want you in the best possible condition that you can possibly be in. Because if it takes you talking trash, right, to motivate yourself, by God, talk that trash. That's what Oleksandr Usyk's saying in a nutshell. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Oleksandr Usyk. Not bothered by Tyson Fury. Understands fully what he's saying. He just doesn't care. Of course, please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!